The alarm hit before I even had my gloves on. My name is Daniel Rourke, and I was 3 decks down fixing a coolant seal when the pressure in the ship changed so fast my ears popped. I dropped my tools and ran, because on a ship like this, a sudden pressure drop means something is dying somewhere, and it is usually dying fast. I am a mechanic, nothing more. I fix pipes, seals, and broken panels on a station that belongs to the Veil Theory, a proud and ancient people who look down on humans the way someone looks down at dust on their boots. We are allowed to work here because our hands are small and steady. We are not allowed to speak to nobles, look them in the eye for too long, or ever, under any circumstance, touch them. I broke that rule within the next 2 minutes, and I did not even think about it. The corridor ahead of me was filling with a thin gray mist that clung to the floor like smoke that refused to rise. My suit display flashed red, a color I had never seen it use before. Behind a shattered door, I saw her. She was curled against the wall, her scales a dull ash color instead of the deep blue I had seen on nobles in passing. Her chest rose and fell in short, broken movements. Her clawed hand reached weakly toward a vent panel just out of her grasp. I did not know her name yet. I did not know she was Lady Ashereth, 3rd daughter of the ruling house on this station, already dying from an illness their best doctors could not cure. All I knew was that a person was drowning in poison gas 4 feet from a working vent, and no one else was coming fast enough. I grabbed her wrist and pulled. My glove had torn on a broken railing minutes earlier, though I had not noticed until my bare hand pressed against her scaled skin. I did not think about the warning I had signed on my very first day here, the one that said a human touching a noble was worse than an insult. I only thought about getting her to the sealed pocket at the end of the hall before the gas finished what it started. We made it inside as the outer door slammed shut behind us. The air in the small chamber was clean, but her breathing did not improve. If anything, it grew weaker. I held her wrist because it was the only part of her I could reach, and I talked to her the way people talk to someone who cannot hear them, saying things like, "Stay with me, and you are not allowed to die on my shift." It was not brave. It was just noise I made, because the silence was worse. 11 minutes passed before the rescue team cut through the door. 11 minutes, where I watched her chest rise and fall, waiting for it to stop. It did not stop. It steadied instead. I did not understand what was happening. I still do not fully understand it now, though I have heard enough since then to guess. Veil Theory bodies are kept nearly free of the small living things that cover human skin. Our world is full of bacteria, oils, and tiny organisms that live on us without ever making us sick. Their world is not. Her illness, the one called the withering, worked by slowly opening pathways inside her cells until her body could no longer hold itself together. The poison gas was designed to force those same pathways open even faster. Somehow, my hand closed a door that the doctors had spent months trying to seal. When the rescue team broke through, her breathing had gone from a wet, dragging sound to something almost calm. Her eyes were open, and she was staring at me with an expression I could not name. It was not fear. It was closer to surprise, the kind of surprise you feel when something impossible happens right in front of you. Then her family arrived, and the room went cold in a way that had nothing to do with the air. 4 Veil Theory nobles came through that door in ceremonial robes that had clearly not been meant for running, yet they had run anyway. Leading them was an older woman with silver markings along her jaw, the kind only the highest rank wears. I later learned she was the Dowager Matriarch, Ashereth's grandmother, and the most powerful person on this entire station. She looked at her granddaughter first. Then she looked at my bare hand still wrapped around Ashereth's wrist. Then she looked at my face. I expected shouting. I expected guards. I expected my life to end in that small metal room, quietly and without much ceremony, the way I had been warned it would if I ever crossed that line. Instead, the matriarch went very still. Ashereth's breathing had not changed since the family walked in. It stayed steady, calm, alive, In a way it had not been for months, according to every medical report the family had received. The matriarch's eyes moved from that steady breathing to my hand, and I could almost see her doing some kind of math in her head, the kind that changes everything once you finish it. "Release her," the matriarch said. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the whole room. I let go, half expecting Ashereth to collapse the moment my hand left her skin. She did not. Her breathing stayed even, calm and steady, exactly as it had been while I held her. The medical team rushed in after that, scanning her, speaking fast in their own language, checking numbers on small handheld devices. I stood back against the wall, trying to make myself as small as possible, waiting for someone to remember that I had broken the one rule every human here is taught to fear breaking. No one arrested me. No one even raised their voice. The matriarch turned to one of her attendants and spoke quickly in a formal dialect that my translator only partly understood. I caught pieces of it, enough to feel a chill that had nothing to do with the cold floor beneath me. "Our physicians have failed for months," she said. Then something about the small living things humans carry on their skin. Then something about finding out what else we carry, and finding out quietly. I did not like the sound of that last part. Ashereth was moved to a proper medical bay within the hour, still breathing steady, still alive in a way that stunned every doctor who looked at her chart. I was told to remain on the station, which was not really a request. 2 guards were now stationed outside my quarters, and I could not tell if they were there to protect me or to make sure I did not leave before someone decided what to do with me. That night, I sat alone in my small room, staring at my own hand under the light, wondering what exactly was living on it that could undo something an entire empire's medicine could not touch. The next morning, a young Veil theory researcher named Elric came to see me. He was polite, careful, and clearly nervous about speaking to a human directly, since that was not something researchers of his rank were used to doing. He asked if I would allow them to study my skin, my blood, and anything else that might explain what had happened in that room. I asked what would happen to me if I said no. He did not answer right away, which told me more than any answer could have. I agreed, mostly because refusing seemed like it would only delay the same outcome, and partly because I was curious myself. I had never thought of my own skin as anything special. Growing up, nobody tells you that the things living quietly on your body might one day be the reason an alien princess is still breathing. 3 days later, Ashereth herself asked to see me. I was brought to her private chamber, where she sat upright for the first time since the accident, her scales slowly returning to their deep blue color. She studied me for a long moment before speaking. "You saved my life without knowing who I was," she said. "That is rare here. Most people who help me want something in return before they even finish helping." I told her the truth, that I had not been thinking about who she was at all. I had only been thinking about getting her away from the gas before it finished the job. She smiled slightly, the first expression close to warmth I had seen from any noble since arriving on this station. Then, she said something that stayed with me long after I left that room. "My grandmother believes your people carry something valuable inside your very skin, something our medicine has never managed to create. She is not wrong to be curious, but she is dangerous when she is curious. Daniel Rourke. Be careful." I left that meeting with more questions than I had walked in with. I did not know if I had saved a life or simply opened a door that could not be closed again. I did not know if the guards outside my room were protection or preparation. I did not know what would happen once the researchers finished studying whatever it was that made human skin so different from theirs. All I knew for certain was that a normal day fixing a broken seal had turned into something much larger than me, and there was no version of my old, quiet life waiting for me on the other side of it.